Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back. This is Jim Grisanzio from the Oracle Groundbreakers team, and I'm here to do the last couple of interviews for the Oracle Groundbreakers India Yatra. Two more to go. I think this is number 38, and I'm here with Gianni Ceresa from Switzerland. And Gianni was one of the speakers at the conference, and so Gianni, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Jim, for having me. Nice to be here.
Very nice to meet you. I specifically said you're number 38 because this is the most amount of interviews for a conference I've ever done alone. Usually a whole team would do 38 interviews over the span of a couple of days, but this is a very weird conference. It's been 3 solid weeks long, over 100 speakers, and which is normal for this Indian community. They do everything at scale. So this is the first time we're meeting here today, so it's very great. It's very nice to meet you. So why don't you get us kicked off by giving us a little bit of background on who you are and what you do?
So yeah, it's really the first time we met because, as you said, you never came to Switzerland, so please fix it. So on my side, I started a bit more than 10 years ago doing analytics with Oracle products. So it was OBIE, Oracle Business Intelligence. And then that's really my main topic, staying around analytics with Oracle. And I'm just a consultant. That's really my job. I just do consulting for the last about 15 years in total. So I started with OBIE, moved up, and now it's all this new cloud, I would say products, so Oracle Analytics Cloud, Oracle Analytics Server. And 3 years ago, I just took a little branch in my way to add also graph databases, just because they complement analytics quite well, in my opinion. So I wanted to expand a bit into a different way of structuring data and analyzing things.
Interesting. Okay, you say just a consultant, but I envy you because you're on your own, right?
Yes, so that's really the thing. I started the usual path by being employed in various consultancies, and then moving up and up, and then I started my own company 4 years ago, and now it's me, myself, and I doing my own one-man show in a way, and we're just going around client to client to fix things, help them to achieve the best with the products they have.
That's really good. I used to be in business for myself when I was very young, a long time ago. Very difficult to do. I really honor people who running their own small businesses. But even though it's hard to do, you still have this sense of ownership, which is explicit, I know, but it's this sense of you feel like you have more control over your destiny. It might not be true, but it's this feeling of the entire thing that's going on. When you work for a big company like I do, one tiny little piece, right? And so anyway, that's really cool. And about Switzerland, yeah, no, I would love to come. Actually, my grandparents are from that part of the world, but a little further south in Italy, and I guess southeast or whatever. Yeah, well, as soon as they let me out of the kitchen, I'll be happy to come. So.
Yeah, we're waiting for the time of being able to go outside as well. So.
I know. So 2 or 3 years, that's what it's looking like. Anyway. Okay, so let's talk about the conference here. The conference it's ending today, and so you did a talk, I guess last week. So
Yes.
Tell me about your talk. I get here something about OCI streams and analytics.
So my talk was graph databases from scratch in 45 minutes.
Oh, did I get the title wrong?
It was analytics still, but not really the same
Oh, okay.
topic details. But
Okay.
so it really was graph databases and how can you start from nothing till one full graph database in just the 45 minutes of the talk. And it was just last week in the analytics day. So I was part of the great speaker of the analytics day.
So
and I would say, yeah.
Graph databases.
Yeah.
Okay. What's a graph database?
That's really the thing. So I got into this graph database thing just because it's a different way to represent and store and structure information. And because you store it and you really connect it in a different way, you can analyze it in a different way. So you ask different questions to get different answers than your usual relational database. So it's all about not table, columns, and joins, but it's really all about like nodes and edges. So it's all like boxes connected. It's like, it's a big network. So you can really just look at the connection of information more than the information itself. While in your relational database, you just check the content of a line of one table. In the graph, you really value a lot more the structure, the connection of all these informations. That's really what I find that gives me a lot more power when I do an analysis. It will not replace my database. It will just complement it. It's really a different point of view on the same kind of information. And it's something that exists in Oracle for already quite some years. When they started with RDF graphs ages ago, they are there for like 15 or 20 years, something like that. And now the property graph are there for like 4 or 5 years. They are free, but licensing wise, they are free since last December. So everybody can use them as long as you have a database. But more or less, nobody knows that they are there and they can be used inside the database.
Really?
You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to install 200 tools. You just need to use your database and use what you have inside. Information, store it as a graph, and start doing graph analysis. That's why I really do this talk, which is from scratch. This is how you can build and use a graph.
So is this, it seems like it's primarily for DBAs, not developers?
I always say that's actually the thing. I really always talk about these things focusing analytics people and not DBA.
Analytics.
The DBAs, okay. Will only look at where is it stored? It's stored in the database, yes. How is it stored? It's just tables with some indexes and partitions. Yeah, then nothing to care about. Yeah, from a DBA point of view, it's just few more tables, few more partitions, few more indexes, fine. But from an analytical point of view, you can really just use it in a totally different way than the normal content of your relational database. That's why I really focus more analytics people, analytical people, and then also developers, because you can use it in your own application. You can easily embed a graph inside your Java application or your web application and just store information in a graph instead of a relational database, depending on your business needs, obviously.
So 2 questions based on that. Why haven't people, you say not a lot of people know that this is available to them as a feature, and what's the benefit, why would they want this? I mean, yes, you say it's different from relational database, but why? What's the benefit of that?
I would say that, at least from my point of view as a consultant, I can end up to a client and you start speaking with them. They try to explain you what they do, what is their business. And they generally just take a piece of paper and they start drawing boxes and arrows, showing you a process. And this kind of representation of a business process or their own company, that's how a graph is built. It's just boxes connected to each other. Mm-hmm. That's why I feel it's really a way that it's easier for even the business side of a company to understand what you're doing, what you're giving them. And I will say that because it's really focused on the structure and the connection between information, it really gives this extra kick. You are not just doing a query on top of your rows. You are just looking at how things interconnect. And that's really something that many people ignore. And to answer the why it's not really well known, I will say probably it's because till December of last year, it was really a paid extension. It was part of the Spatial and Graph licensing pack. So you were really paying something which was Spatial and Graph. If you just need Graph, you're just paying a lot for only a little part of the license. And also, like, Oracle was not known and still not is known as, oh, do we have a property graph in Oracle? Yes, there is one. Many people still believe they have to go outside the Oracle landscape. They have to go buying something else. Nope, right. It's there.
Right there. Interesting. Okay. So it sounds like a more natural way than you say, because a client's going to be drawing boxes, and this is a more natural way of representing the data.
Yeah, it's really as simple as if you can say something, the simple sentence you're saying, that's a graph by nature because you probably have a subject, a verb, and then expressing an action or a relationship with something else.
Right.
So just saying, oh, I have a customer that is buying a product. Customer buying product. So as soon as you can say something, it's just a graph by itself. By design, it's a graph.
Wow.
And also the thing is, you don't need to design your graph like for weeks or even just days on a piece of paper or just on a tool. Oh, I need this column, this column, this column. The graph is totally dynamic. It's totally free. It's design free. You can start with just few kind of information. And as soon as you need something else, you just keep adding inside. You keep adding things. You don't have to rework it. You don't have to change the structure because the graph is fully dynamic. It's all about nodes and edges. As long as you have boxes and arrows connecting them, it will fit. So this flexibility also allow you to just change your mind as long as you work, because you start with an idea, you say, oh, but I also actually have a different question. I need to go there. No problem. Just add this information in a graph, it will follow you. In your database, okay, I have to drop this column, I have to add new columns, I have to add new tables. The graph is totally free, it's totally dynamic.
Oh, so like I could do it.
Honestly, yes. That's really the point, saying just on a piece of paper, if you just can design like boxes and arrows, really a process like this kind of connection between elements, that's a graph. It's a valid graph. It will work.
So the complexity is actually hid behind in the system itself. You just have to understand your business processes, which is sometimes no trivial matter. To be able to think your business processes out enough so you can implement it in technology. So
I would say it's clearly a real challenge to understand the business and translate into technology. But it's a lot easier when the business describes itself as a process with boxes and arrows, and you just build this kind of structure of data instead of saying, okay, now you have to take these boxes and arrows, create tables, create joins, create indexes, create things. They are not the same language. And also when you go speaking with business people, or just when you speak with analytics people that need to do analysis, if you speak by relationship between objects, simply saying, I have a customer buying a product, makes sense. If you start saying, I have a table for customers and I have a table for products, I have a mapping table in between with the orders, I have a few columns, tables, joints, I don't follow you. Why? You just say, I have a customer buying a product. It's a more natural way to express things that speak, I will say, more widely to many people instead of just technical people.
Interesting. So what was the reaction from the talk? I mean, I would imagine that would, especially if people aren't as familiar that it's available.
I must say that the reaction is generally always the same. It's first of all saying, I still don't see the real need. Why would I need a property graph? What does it give me that I cannot do with my database? And that's the usual reaction, the typical reaction from database people. I mean, obviously, in a way, I'm telling you that you can give up your database and do something else. So obviously, the reaction is natural. But more in general, it's more like, oh, it's there. It's free. It's easy to do because it really only takes a few minutes to get started. It's definitely worth a try to see if it will not bring a real added value to my daily business, daily job, and more information and more to be better.
Right.
So generally, the feedback is always, oh, good to know. I was not aware. Something else to look inside because can be quite interesting.
Cool. All right. Well, Gianni, you are an Oracle ACE director. You're one of 60 ACE speakers at the conference. So almost, I guess, about almost two thirds of the speakers were Oracle ACEs. And you're Oracle ACE director. How long have you been in that program, and how's it going?
So I joined the program in December 2017 as an ACE. It was the time that the program was a bit restructuring itself. So there was like a bit of a blank for a few months before. But then I got in December 3 years ago. And then last year in July, I've been was promoted to ACE director. It's, I mean, I will say, as many others said, that's not really an achievement. It's not a target that you set yourself. It's not a, oh, that's where I want to go. It's always come as a, oh, thank you very much. It's really an award. You receive it just for what you do. I don't do presentation, for example, to be an ace.
Right.
It's more the other way around. Because I keep doing presentation and blog about things, they thought I could fit into the ACE program. And I say, it's clearly a nice program just because of all the connection that it gives you. It's really a great network of people. When you need something, you know that you can just ask to the other ACEs. There will be somebody that's already been there as an answer for you. And if not, the ACE program allow you to more easily get in touch with product management, on the Oracle side. So it clearly opened doors that not everybody will have otherwise. So it's clearly a benefit.
So you guys are in contact with each other as much as you're in contact with the company then?
Yes, many of us, also because when we are around speaking at conferences,
right,
you often see the same people. So you just get friend. And that's why we are just a network of friends in a way. Even in this period with all the lockdown, all these things, like we were having Zoom calls in the evenings once per week, just between us to have a chat and see what's going on. So it's really a great way to just connect with great people. That's really the key point for me, at least.
So do you speak regularly at conferences then, and you do publishing, blogging, articles, this kinds of thing? Is that something you love to do? Because you were obviously recognized for it, so it's got to be something that you do a fair amount of.
So I must clearly say that it's not something natural, mainly also just because of the language. I don't speak English as a native language, obviously, as you can hear by the accent and all the mistakes. So just the language can start being a barrier at the beginning. But really my full career, I started learning the tools. Okay, reading the documentation is one thing. But then it's by reading blog of ACEs, following session by Oracle ACE directors or Oracle ACEs. And by seeing these people just sharing so much knowledge, I started by taking it to grow up in my career. And then at some point I say, oh, now I feel like I know things that maybe can help somebody else, because I maybe spend 1 month searching a given problem to find out how to fix it. See, I did it fine. If I just keep it for myself, yeah, it just helped me. But doesn't it make more sense to just try to give back? That's really how it started. So just trying to write a few blogs about problems and solutions. And from there, from the blog, you just move into let's do a presentation on top of it, just to talk about it. And then it's just like an infinite loop. You start sharing and then you keep going, you keep going. And now I will say it's kind of fun to do presentation because it's always this stress, this adrenaline that you get, and then you never know how it will go. And then at the end, that was cool. It was awesome. Great people, great question. Let's do it again.
Yeah, I agree. It's always good to have done the presentation instead of do. Well, actually, sometimes in the middle of it, if it's going well, it is kind of fun, But sometimes it could be a disaster, like if you're losing your voice, If I had this experience once in Indonesia where it was raining very, very heavily, and we were in this university, and the raindrops were this big. It just went boom, 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 boom. And then I was losing my voice, and we didn't have a good speaker system, so I literally could not project my voice. I lost my voice 2 minutes into an hour presentation, and I just went, oh my God, that stuff happens,
I had something similar. I was doing in Italy 3 years ago, if I'm not wrong. I was doing a live demo presentation. After 10 minutes, the power cut in the building. So no laptop, no screen, no nothing. And it's just live code. What to do for the rest of the half an hour I have? Well, I will just talk and talk and talk. So right. It's I will say, yes, it's stressful, it's annoying, it's scaring. It's really scary at the beginning, but it's just fun at the end because, oh, I didn't cry. I didn't start crying in the middle of it. I did it, and people didn't leave the room. So I did something good, apparently.
And most people, I said this before, most people in tech conferences, they're rooting for the speaker, you know. They're you know, they want to be there. They're there in the session because of something in the abstract or title, you know, piqued their interest. And you know, if they don't know you, they want you to do a good job because that benefits them, you know. And so if, you know, but yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah.
That's clearly a point that many people say, I don't want to speak because there will be people in the room that know more than me. But I guess it's Connor McDonald that did a little video a few weeks ago about public speaking and online presentation. In the end, the only one knowing your own slides, your own content, is yourself. So nobody in the room can know your slides better than you. That's why in the end, you always win in a way. As long as you follow your project, you follow your path, that's good. Even the people in the room, they will, as you said, they are there for you. Nobody's there in the room to just take you down or whatever. So it's always positive. It's a good experience. Stressful at the beginning, but a good experience.
Well, you've obviously been recognized for it, that's for sure, because ACE Director is the highest level, right? So, and I've been around a lot of ACE Directors in TripSol throughout, you know, the last couple of years, the last 3 years, and they're very smart people. So you're in good company, and it's great to have you in the community. Have you presented to the Indian community before?
No, this one was really the first time I thought, okay, because it's online, it's a good way to get a first interaction with this user group. I never really worked with them. I never really presented there. So the best way to start is at least the one without the bunch of hours of travel, because it's just safer, at least. It feels safer. So that's really was good to see how this kind of audience react, because every single audience react differently based on countries and locations. So it was a good way to experiment how it works there, how it is. It was really well organized, really. They do everything to make you feel comfortable. Yeah. And that's, as a speaker, is the best feeling ever.
Yeah, I was also very, very impressed, and I've heard very good things from all the other speakers. But, you know, if you do get a chance to go to India, whenever we're allowed to go again, it's a fantastic experience, you know, live. And all right, Gianni, well, it's been great talking to you. It was great meeting you for the first time. And I do hope that we can meet in person someday in Switzerland or in Italy or in India or anybody except the kitchen. Anywhere except the kitchen would be great.
Everybody's waiting that time of, oh, I really want to see wherever. I don't care if it's Europe, Asia, America. Let's meet once again soon.
Exactly. So, people are saying, oh, they're going to be scared to travel. I don't think so. I'd get on a plane right now, just like that. No problem. So anyway, it's good talking to you. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Jim.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.